Well, good evening, everyone. We'll kick off. My name's Robin, if you don't know me. I work for St. Anne's Church in Limehouse, and we've got a special month at the moment. We've called it Life, and it's a whole month of special events leading up to Easter. And it's all about showing people what the Christian life looks like. And as part of that, we've got 3 interviews. We had the first one last Tuesday with Philip and Mariko, and we've got one today with the Mokhtari family, which I'm really looking forward to. And there'll be about 10 or so questions with them. They get to share a little bit about their story, their background, what's going on with them. And then afterwards, there'll be a little bit of me talking about a bit from the Bible. And then you can send messages through the chat box function after that. I think the children will be leaving, but Mohammed and Farzaneh will stick around for the full hour because we'll be done by 9 for sure. Now we have muted you all. Please don't take offense to that. It's just to help with the recording to make it sound a bit neater. So please try and stay on mute if you can throughout the whole time. And yes, it will be recorded, so please share it around afterwards. We're assuming lots of people will want to hear this great story that we've got. So that's enough of an introduction. Now I'll let Mohammed and family introduce themselves. So guys, take it away. Who are you? A bit of your background.
Hello, Robin. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Reza Mokhtari. I came from Iran. I was born in southern Iran in Bushehr. I live in Germany before in UK. I come to UK 15 July 2020. Before I lived in Germany for years. I came to St. Anne's Church September 2021.
Hello everyone. Hello Robin. My name is Farzaneh. I come from Iran, South Iran in Bushehr. My name city is Bushehr. Yes, another sentence Mohammed said and explained you.
Hello, my name is Ali. Hello everyone. Hello Ruben. Hello Vala. I'm from Iran, and then myself is Bushehr.
And Daniel.
And he's Daniel.
Yes, especially Daniel. Yeah. That's great. Mohammed, tell us, how old is Daniel?
Yeah. Daniel is 16 months.
16 months. Yeah, he's a lovely, lovely boy. And he was, was baptized at St. Anne's, wasn't he?
Yeah, November
17 November.
Yeah, 17.
7th.
Wonderful. So guys, before we talk a bit about your history, what is your life like now? What are some of the good things you're enjoying at the moment? And what are some of the hard things for you at the moment?
Vala?
Rob, sorry, please, could you just repeat the question once again?
Sure, yeah.
I was lost.
Yeah, no problem. So sorry, I should say we have Vala with us, who is also part of St. Anne's.
You forgot me. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure. My name's Vala. I'm going to be your unofficial interpreter for tonight. So that's it. I'm at your service. It's my pleasure.
Vala also has a fascinating story, but is very graciously letting Mohammed and Farzaneh take the spotlight today. So, sorry, Mohammed and Farzaneh, tell us a little bit about your life now. What are some of the really good things that you're enjoying, and what are some of the hard things at the moment?
یه ذره محمد جان، فرزانه جان میگه یه ذره از شرایط زندگی الانتون بگید که اینجا هستید. یکی اون ابعاد مثبتی که داره و دیگری ابعاد منفی سختی. خب بالاخره به عنوان پناهنده که اومدیم یه سری سختیایی داره، یه سری نکات مثبتی داره. یه ذره از خوبی و منفیاش، یعنی چیزای بودای مثبت و منفیش اگه امکانش هست بگید برای ما.
اول اینکه والا جان یه عذرخواهی کن از این که ما نمی‌تونیم خودمون انگلیسی صحبت بکنیم. بعد دوم اینکه از نکات مثبتش من بگم، یعنی جدا از تمامی سختی هایی که داشتیم، خصوصا ورودمون به یوکی و یعنی خود کشیش ریچارد هم میدونه که قبلا من بهش توضیح دادم که توی یه شهری زندگی میکردیم اسم شهر سویندون بود و خیلی حال بدی داشتیم چون خونه کثیف بود. اونجا ضد مهاجر بودن والا جان و اصلا با ما نداشتن. و از زمانی که اومدیم اینجا و با اعضای کلیسا آشنا شدیم، اونا رو واقعا خانواده خودمون دوست داریم و خیلی روز به روز که میگذره این رابطه بهتر و صمیمیتر میشه و بیشتر ما احساس خوشحالی و رضایت داریم.
پس بذاریم بعد مثبت رو همینجا نگه داریم. من اینا رو ترجمه بکنم و به بعد منفی برسیم. First of all, they thank you all and they're apologizing because they cannot speak English and they're just when it comes to pros, okay, the good things, they're mentioning that before coming to London, they've been in Swindon, another city. And basically, unfortunately, that city is a little bit racist. They are anti-immigrants, and it was a little bit tough down. The place was so nasty. Even that living criteria, it wasn't so good. It wasn't so human. But since they came here to London, especially to this neighborhood, obviously we know that Tower Hamlet is not so rich when it comes to neighborhoods in London, but still, it's way more better. And all the required standards, they are met, and they're living the level of their life. It's now way more better when they compare it to previous city. That's the good thing and the good sign, basically the pros. And let me ask about the cons. So قسمت بعدش چیه که هنوز یه مقدار ممکنه آزارتون بده؟
بعدش محمد بگه.
ممنونم. من تشکر میکنم بابت وقتی که به ما دادن و از شما تشکر میکنم که راه رو هموار میکنید که ما صحبتامون رو
من کوچیک
شما دوست دارید. قسمت بعد حقیقتش پناهندگی کلا 0% بده، ولی به ایمان آوردن به عیسی مسیح و امید داشتن به آینده یکی از محاسناتیه که مسیح به ما هدیه میده در مسیحیت. و اینکه به ترس از آینده نداشتی در حال زندگی بکنی یکم اون سختی ها رو کمتر میکنه، ولی لازمش اینه که توی مسیر باشی و ما سعی کردیم که توی مسیر باشیم که حداقل از سختی ها یکم کاسته بشه.
When it comes to cons, basically, is saying that the whole process of immigration, especially through asylum-seeking process, it's very complicated, and from the start point till the end point, it's all mess. It's hard to find a good spot or a good period of time that to say, okay, now it's okay. But having hope, have a belief that okay, during all this process, Jesus himself is protecting me, and there is some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. That's a good sign, and that's a good thing, and it helps them to just go through all the complicated things, and they can just resist and just keep going.
Oh, good, thank you. And so now that we've thought a bit about your present, let's go right to the beginning of your story. So you both grew up in Iran, where the predominant religion is Islam. So was that the religion that you two both grew up in? Were you both Muslims as young people?
متوجه شدی محمد جان یا چیز کنم؟
گفتن که دین غالب بر ایران اسلام بوده و شما
میگه یه ذره به عقب برگردیم. اول از خود داره میپرسه، میگه خب چون شما دو نفر رو میگه چون دین غالب اسلام بوده، آیا شما هم خب یعنی مسلمان به دنیا اومدید و مسلمان بودید بعداً تغییر مذهب دادین؟ که خب طبعا جوابش بله است.
بله درست حد زدیم و 100% همینجوره. در ایران همینجوره که دین ارثی به آدم میرسه و تو همون شرایط اسلام آدم بزرگ میشه، مدرسه میره و درگیر میشه، ناخودآگاه درگیر میشه.
Yeah, basically they're saying you're right, because in Iran, religion is a form of legacy. Basically, it's a bequest, maybe I can call that comes to you from your parents and grandparents, basically, and it's all penetrated into your mind and to your all day everyday lifestyle, during by educational system, by political system, and blah blah blah. So basically, yeah, you're 100% right, and they were born as Muslims.
Okay, thank you. So Islam has a different view of Jesus to Christianity. So what changed your mind about Jesus? Because now you are both Christians, you are coming to our church. So what changed your mind about Jesus?
خب ما جان گفت که همونطوری که میدونید دیدگاهی که قرآن و اسلام نسبت به مسیح داره به عنوان حالا یه شخصیت هستن، خب از اون دید مسیحیت متفاوته. خب دیگه تو من بهتر میدونیم که به چشم پروفیت یعنی پیامبر میبیننش دیگه. چه تفاوتی توی این نوع نگاه در مسیحیت بود که جذبتون کرد و باعث شد که به این سمت حرکت بکنید؟
همونجور که تو کتاب مقدسم گفته، یعنی شاید این سوال همیشه پرسیده میشه از آدم، ولی وقتی آدم قدم برمیداره و تو مسیر قرار میگیره، درک امروز ما کاری نکردم حقیقتش. همونجوری که میگه خودش تو رو فرا میخونه، 100% به نظر ما یه اتفاقی بوده که خودش خواسته و ما توی شرایطی بودم که راهی نداشتم غیر از این که به عیسی مسیح، یعنی وقتی شما تو یک بنبست قرار میگیری، شاید دیگه نمیای بین خوب و خوبتر انتخاب بکنی، یعنی هر کی میگه کمکت میکنم و یه چشمه از کمکش میبینی میری سمتش. برای ما اینجوری بوده، شاید هیچ کاری نکردم، فقط دریچه قلبمو باز گذاشتم و گوشامو باز گذاشتم و اون پیامو شنیدم و به نظر ما هیچ کاری ما انجام ندادم، کار بزرگی رو خودش انجام. ولی اگر از لحاظ تفاوت‌ها خیلیه. شاید در کلی و عام بخوای صحبت بکنی در موردش و یک آدم ناآگاه بخواد چیز کنه، شاید بگه اونا خداپرستن و شما خداپرستین و هیچ فرقی نمی‌کنه. ولی چیزی که اسلام اونو رد میکنه، بزرگترین کار مسیحه که بر صلیب کشیده نشه، که اونو انکار میکنه و میگه همچین اتفاقی اصلا نمیفته. این تنها تفاوتی هست که تفاوت چیزیه، تفاوت عمده‌ایه، بزرگه و شما وقتی صلیب عیسی رو انکار میکنی دیگه انکار، یعنی کل مسیحیت رو انکار.
Basically they mentioned two main points. First of all, it was about what was important about Jesus. Basically, it told me that it wasn't like maybe an intellectual choice or an intellectual logical process for him. I think it's different for them than to me. He told me that when you're in a very, very complicated situation and you feel helpless and you think that, okay, I need someone to give me a hand and help me because now I'm messed up and I need a help, you're open and you're receiving help from any side. And while all the doors were close to him, basically only Jesus was the person who helped him and tried to just get him out of his situation, basically. So he's saying, I didn't do anything. Like, I think it's a form of underestimation of your role, which is very good. It's exactly like Bible, because we say, okay, we don't play any role, we just accept the grace from the Lord, and that's what Mohammed mentioning here. It was just a receiver of grace of the Jesus. And also about the practical difference between Islam's interpretation of Jesus and Christian interpretation of Jesus. As you know, and as I know, Quran completely rejects the whole incident of crucifixion, putting Jesus on cross. and they don't believe that such a thing happened, and also they believe him as a form of prophet, not the Son of God. And yeah, there are the main differences between Christian interpretation and Islamic interpretation per se.
و در ادامه بخوام بگم کاری که به عیسی مسیح روی صلیب انجام داد فوق‌العاده کار بزرگیه. وقتی شاید هر روزم به این فکر بکنی شیفته میشی هر روز، یعنی یه چیزی نیست که تکراری بشه. و اون جمله‌ای که میگه ما او رو نمیشناختیم و او به خاطر ما بر روی صلیب رفت، به خاطر گناهان ما بر روی صلیب رفت، فوق‌العاده کار بزرگی، فوق‌العاده کار بزرگی. شما اینو در هیچ جای قرآن توسط هیچ پیامبری در اسلام نمیبینی که انجام شده باشه و این محبت در او دیده باشه.
And at the end is just mentioning that, you know, Jesus being killed, okay, not in its physical form, we just call it being killed, but being killed for our sins, and, you know, the form of sacrifice, you know, it's so rare, so scarce. For example, in all Quran as a text, it's impossible to find a similar situation that someone did such a great and unbelievable sacrifice, and that's the main point about Jesus.
Thank you, that's really helpful. Mohammed, you mentioned a feeling of helplessness, and from the little bit of your story that I know, it sounds like you've experienced dark times and oppression in different ways. We will talk about the Iranian regime in a moment and the hard things that brings. But you have also experienced hard times with addiction. So I wondered, you don't need to spend long on this because I know it's personal, but just could you mention how addiction affected you as a person?
محمد جان، میگن که به چیزایی مثلا حکومت ایران یا بقیه مسائل قرار برسیم، بعدا راجع بهش صحبت میکنیم، ولی میگه اگه امکانش هست خیلی کوتاه. خب این یعنی این روی مقدار کوتاه، به خاطر اینکه مسئله شخصی خیلی نمیخواد بازش بکنه، فقط چون خودت گفتی داره مطرحش میکنه. میگه خیلی کوتاه در ارتباط با اون حسی که احساس میکردی احتیاج به کمک داری و کسی نبود، همون چیزی که خودت مطرح کردی، در ارتباط با اعتیادی که اتفاق افتاده بود، یه ذره میخواد راجع به اون صحبت کنی و میگه این کوتاه باشه به خاطر اینکه چیز شخصی نمیخواد آزارت بده از این بابت و دوباره یادآوری کنه.
احترام میذارم به نظر روبین عزیز، ولی به احساس میکنم ما به هممون افتخار میکنیم، هممون افتخار میکنیم که شاگرد عیسی مسیح هستیم و روزانه همینو تکرار میکنیم، ولی شاگرد بودن تنها به نظرمون کاری انجام نمیده. ما باید شهادت بدیم، از گذشتمون خیلی مفصل صحبت بکنیم. اوکی، این شخصیت ما دیگه نیست، دیگه برای ما فرق نمیکنه کسی بدونه ندونه. ما همین الان میرم داد میزنم، چرا؟ چون خداوند یه کاری رو برای ما انجام داد و دوست دارم اینو بگم. چرا؟ چون ما با روزانه با شهادت دادنمون فقط یک چیز رو ثابت میکنیم که خداوند زنده است و هنوز داره کار میکنه، میتونه برای تو هم کار بکنه. اینجا دیگه شخصیت محمد دیگه هیچ، صفرن، اصلا محمد کاری نیست. و اگه اجازه بدم میخوام کامل، البته نه زیاد ولی کامل لقمه مطلب
بگو، من اینو همه رو بخشی از اون میکنم.
آره اینو حتما بگید.
آره بگو عزیزم.
آره شما اینو ترجمه بکنید و
باشه. Before going to the addiction story, he just mentioned something which was very lovely based on my point of view. I think it's going to be lovely from your point of view. He mentioned that he's not afraid or ashamed of what happened to him, because if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Robin, you mentioned that it's something personal and you don't want to bother him going through the details and everything. But on the other hand, Mohammed is mentioning that you know, based on the things that happened to me, my personal previous experience, it shows and it's an illustration of God's plan for me, and now I'm a living witness that, okay, I was in a terrible dark place and now I'm out of it because of Jesus' help. And basically saying that no, I'm not shamed or, you know, afraid of it, and I don't consider it as something personal. So I'm 100% open to discuss it and talk about it. And let me just go back to Mohammed to just get the main point. محمد جان بفرمایید عزیزم.
اجازه دارم؟
آره بفرما. آره عزیزم.
زندگی ما در کلا ما همیشه میگم 3 فصل داشته زندگی. فصل اول کودکی ما بوده. بابت جایی که ما به دنیا آمدیم تهران نبوده، اصفهان نبوده، جنوب ایران بوده. جغرافیای جنوب ایران خیلی فوق العاده مذهبیه. یعنی همین الان سال 2022 هم شما بری اونجا یه کارایی میکنن که شما در پایتخت ایران نمیبینی اون کارا و یه کارایی به خاطر همسایگیش با کشورهای اعراب و یه موقعیت جغرافیایی اونجا باعث شده که ما اونجا رشد بکنم و فوق العاده درگیر مذهب بشم. یکی از افتخارات پدرم اینه که خادم مسجدم و کلیددار مسجدم با این فرهنگ و هیچ وقت هم نمیدونن که اصلا این اسلام چی گفته، سوادش هم ندارن، نمیخونن، ولی یک چیز اعتقادی ما رو بزرگ کردن. این یک تایمیه که شما هیچ چیزی نداری، هیچ کنترلی بر وضعیت نداری و تو همون شرایط باید زیست بکنی و حق انتخاب هم نداری و عقلت هم نمیرسه که اصلا انتخاب بکنی چی خوبه چی بده. همینجوری چیزی که به دیکته شده رو تو ادامه میدی تا یک سن. فصل دوم 13-14 سالگی زندگی آدمه که دیگه میفهمی که چه خبره. وقتی اونجا میرسی میبینی تو کل چند سالی هم که قبلش بوده، الان 4 سال 5 سال بوده و شما تلاش کردی، فرایض دینی تو انجام دادی، ولی امروز هیچ نتیجه‌ای نمیبینی. هنوز اون خلأ روحانی رو احساس میکنی. منظورم میگیری؟ کلا اون یعنی همه کار رو انجام دادی. شما روزه گرفتی، نماز خوندی، مسجد رفتی، مؤذن بود، مکبر بودی، مؤذن بودی و ولی امروز هیچ چیزی رو نداری. و یک اتفاقی میفته و شما میری درخواست میکنی از همون پیامبران، امامان یا هر کسی دیگه و هیچ پاسخی نمیبینی. انگار تو رابطه یک طرفه بوده و تو همه تلاشتو کردی و هیچ پاسخی دریافت نمیکنی. اونجاست که تو وارد یک مرحله از زندگی میشی که برای ما اینجوری بوده، مرحله خلأ بوده که این خلأ رو باید پر بکنی. خیلی سنین کوتاه ما دوچار این حال احساس شد. تو سنین 14 15 13 دوچار این احساس شد. اولین چیزی که به ذهن ما رسید دوستانی که خلأشون رو با یک چیز خارجی دارن پر میکنن. حالا تا اینجا شما ترجمه بفرمایید بعد ادامه.
آره من فقط یه چیزی هم فقط بگم، به خاطر اینکه 1 ساعته من فقط نگرانی رسیدن
جمعش میکنم.
آره خب بگو که من بذار یه جاره چیزش کنم که یه ذره بهش سامرایز کنم. بگو
شما خسته میشن بعد
آره چشم. He explained the process. I'll do my best to just summarize it in the best way possible. He mentioned manifold epoch of times in his life. It started with, you know, that environment of the place that he was born in. The south of Iran, basically, it's way more religious than the north part of Iran because it's closer to Arabic countries like, you know, Saudi Arabia, you know, Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain. It's more closer, and obviously there are a lot of influences. So first of all, you mentioned that religious environment that he had been brought up, and then when he was in his, you know, close to his adulthood, because he was moving from being a teenager to a mature guy, and there were manifold problems in Iran. For example, you know, the rate of, you know, it was so hard to find a job in that epoch of time, especially in that environment. You know, it wasn't industrialized. It was so hard to find a proper job. And, you know, when you're young and obviously naive and it's hard to find a job and it's hard to get an education, it's very easy. It's just 2 + 2 = 4. You can just get into a lot of nasty things, for example, drugs. And that's what happened to him. And also when he was in this, you know, state of struggle, non-stop struggle, and he wanted to just come out of it. At the same time, he was just asking from, you know, in his spiritual mood, he was just asking from all those authorities, you know, Islamic authorities, you know, like Prophet Muhammad or other, you know, imams basically, and he couldn't get any response. a proper one. So that's why he was just, okay, maybe I'm just looking through the wrong direction. Maybe I just try to find another way, another source of help. And that's what happened. That was here. Mohammed, ادامه میخوای بدی چیزی رو؟ And now he wants to just end it.
و خیلی زود ما درگیر اعتیاد شد. درگیر اعتیاد به صورت شدید. خیلی زود. یعنی شما اگه یک مسیر رو بخوای تو 10 سال بری، ما شاید تو 1 سال با سرعت تمام رفتم رسیدم به اونجا. چرا؟ چون خیلی خلل داشتم و خیلی زود طرد شدم از خانواده. چون طرد شدم از اجتماع، طرد شدم، خیلی بیشتر انگار یکی منو هول میداد که برام طرفه و رفتم و تا انتهاش رفتم و سال آخر که داخل این وضعیت بودم با فرزانه آشنا شدم و فرزانه رو به عهد کردم، با هم بود، از وضعیت رو میدونست، خیلی صبور بود و ازش ممنونم که تو اون شرایط با ما بود و اینکه خیلی دیگه خسته شده بودم. یعنی از وضعیتی که داشتم واقعا خسته شده بودم. از امامان بگیر، پیامبران بگیر، دکترا بگیر، روانشناسا بگیر، کمپ‌های ترک اعتیاد بگیر، اینا رو ما همه تجربه کردیم و ظاهر امروز ما اینجوری نبود. من محمدی بودم که 45 کیلو بیشتر وزن نداشتم و فوق‌العاده وضعیت اسفباری داشتم و همین الان در حال حاضر خدمتتون عرض کنم یک چیزی حدود شاید بگم 5 تا یا 6 تا دندون سالم در دهنم باشه، همش مصنوعی اند و کلا دیگه بفهم عمق فاجعه چقدر بود. و همونجا بود که خداوند به ملاقات ما اومد در رویا. نه ما اصلا نمیشناختم مسیح چیه، فقط خداوند فهمید که ما نیاز به کمک دارم و توی یه بن‌بستی قرار گرفتم و فکر خودکشی دارم و در یک رویا به ما ظاهر شد و فقط یک جمله گفت. ما نشستم با یه آدم غریبه کنار دریا تو رویا باهاش صحبت کردم، گفتم خسته شدم از زندگی، اصلا نمیشه، انگار نمیشه تغییر کرد و همش با طرز زندگی کردن و فقط یک جمله به ما گفت برو، نگران نباش، همه چی درست میشه و رفت. فردای اون روز بدونی که فکری کرده باشم در مورد خوابی که دیشب دیدم یا در اصلا به یه قوتی به ما داد که ما خودم با پای خودم رفتم یک جا خودم بستری.
من تبدیل بکنم بگم وسطشو نبرم که خسته
آره.
Rob, I think he also answered your next question. It's a good pace, I think. And just help me through managing the time and everything. Just let me know, feel free. He mentioned something very lovely. He started with his, addiction. Basically, he said, it was a dark joke, but he said I was very talented in being addicted. The pace that people pave in 10 years, I did it in 1 year. So yeah, it was a nightmare for him. And basically it was in a very terrible status. He had thought of suicide, and it was we all know that. How does it feel that you're very, very, mingled with this state of addiction, and you feel helpless and there's no one to help you. Also, your family say, okay, we are done with you, you're basically less than a human being, we don't need you, we don't want you, we just want to throw you away. So you don't have a family to rely on. Your hope, you don't have any hope, any source of hope in your religious beliefs and faiths and everything. So you feel powerless when it comes to your religion, Islam, when it comes to your family, and blah 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 blah. When he was just struggling, he met Farzaneh, and also Farzaneh knew about his status, but she was open to marry him and help him to just go through this process. And at last, he mentions his first experience of Jesus. It was in a dream, and he had a conversation when he was just sitting by the beach. Maybe it's a good mentioning of Bible by the beach, reminds us of our thing that we are going to do. He was sitting by the beach, and the man was unknown to him. So basically, when he was just feeling this dream, he didn't believe and didn't know that the person was Jesus. But based on the things that he said to him, that strange man, that unknown man told to Muhammad, then he realized, when he went through just the texts and everything, he realized, okay, this was Jesus. And that was his spiritual experience of Jesus. And that was that specific time, that moment was the lightning moment, and that moment changed his life, maybe forever. And I think, yeah, we can go to the next question if you like.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you so much for telling us that, Mohammed. Let's move ahead a bit. So you've already spoken about how in this state of need, you found Jesus, or perhaps we should say Jesus found you. But you have now, then you had to decide to leave Iran. And that's what I'd like to ask. Maybe Farzaneh can answer this one. Tell us a bit about the Iranian government and why you decided to leave Iran.
Oh, Iranian government, my lovely topic. محمد فرزانه داره میگه که در اون موقعیتی که دیگه شما تجربتون رو مطرح کردید و اینها، بالاخره خب تعارف که نریم، باید تصمیم میگرفتید که از ایران برید. خب یعنی یا باید میموندید و شرایط رو میپذیرفتید، خب ما میدونیم پذیرفتنش یعنی چی، واضحه، یا اینکه باید میومدید. حالا بیشتر هم میخواد فرزانه که یه مقدار فرزانه جان هم مشارکت داشته باشه بگه. یه لحظه اجازه بدید. Rob, you want to know about what happened to them during this road, coming from Iran to here, or what was the decision, or
yeah, why did they decide to leave Iran is really the key question, and it doesn't need to be a long answer.
Perfect. میگن خیلی کوتاه چی شد که تصمیم گرفتید از ایران برید؟ فکر میکنم بیشتر منظورش همون تحت شکنجه و تحت اعدام بودن ایرانیان توی چیز باشه.
خیلی زود ما به چیز شدیم، خیلی زود ما به جذب شدیم، خیلی زود هم نه، یه چیزی بود مثلا 1 سال بعد فعالیت ما تو ایران شروع شد و ما رو دستگیر کردن. شهر ما خیلی کوچیکه و ما رو دستگیر کردن و رسانه‌ای شد و از این حرفا. من و فرزانه رو دستگیر کردن و اونجا چیزی حدود 4 ماه ما زندان بودیم. بعد تحت وثیقه آزاد شدیم و بعد از اونم دیگه ما ایران رو ترک کردیم، علی رو برداشتیم و حرکت کردیم اومدیم. تو فاصله که هنوز ما نرسیده بودیم آلمان، خبر رسید که اون وثیقه‌ای هم که اجرا گذاشته بودیم اونجا به اجرا در و مجبور به ترک شدیم، مثلا خواسته نبود.
و basically, Rob, they've mentioned that approximately after 1 year that they knew about Christianity, and because when you just have this feeling, this experience, then it takes time to just digest the process and just read the text and know the Bible and blah blah blah. So it takes time. It's not just a one night thing. After 1 year from that experience, they've actually started their, how we can say, open broadcasting, not broadcasting in its general form, preaching in a way. Obviously, we all know that it's practically impossible to preach about Christianity in Iran in, open discussions and everything, but still about speaking to a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy from, mouth to mouth, ear to ear. But since their city was so tiny, so because they've been in Bushehr and, I was in Tehran. So if you compare Tehran to Bushehr, it's like comparing maybe London to Worthing for you people to know the difference. So it was unbelievable, the difference. So the city was so tiny and, just the word ran away. Okay. And it was so quick since the government and the authority found out about this preaching, Christianity preaching. And then they've been arrested, him and Farzaneh, and they've been arrested for approximately چه مدت دستگیر شده بودی محمد جان فرمودی؟ 4 ماه؟
4 ماه نه، 1 سال برام نوشته بودن، ما 4 ماه تحت وثیقه آزاد شدیم، با وثیقه آزاد شدیم.
He had been arrested and also prosecuted, but and they've been sentenced for 1 year, okay, at jail. But then they just spent 4 months and they came out on bail, because, you know, when you're married and you have special circumstances, you can come out on bail and everything. But when they came out on bail, they just ran away from country, you know, illegally. And basically that was the situation. That was the case for them.
Wow. Okay. Gosh, I didn't realize, yeah, how serious it had been. And then you made the journey across Europe over many years. You've mentioned you were in Germany, came to the UK, you were in Swindon. So I'd love to ask Farzaneh, what was it like as a family making that journey, and how has your faith helped?
Honestly, Rob, I didn't get the question. What did you mean by being as a family? And you mean as a wife?
No, not especially, but as in, obviously it wasn't an individual
okay,
making this journey. You
got
know,
it. Now,
that would be hard enough. But
yes.
this is a young family. So I'd love to hear, particularly from a mother's point of view, what that was like. Different countries, different places, all of this uncertainty, and maybe did her faith help?
فرزان جان، این سوال از شماست عزیزم. راب گفت که خب شما توی مدت سالهای زیادی بود که حالا جای مختلف بودید، سر تا سر اروپا رو اومدید، کشورهای مختلف، فلان مختلف. میگه خب اولا خب تجربه پناهندگی شما به عنوان یک خانواده فرق میکنه با مثلا کسی مثل من که یک نفر مجرده. خب قطعا تجربه خیلی سخت‌تر و دردناکتریه. میخواست بگه که شما به عنوان حالا کسی که حالا همسر بوده و مادر بوده، و خب ما میدونیم تجربه مادری هم کار خیلی ثقیل و سنگینیه، برای ما مردها خیلی قابل ادراک نیست. برای تو چه جوری بود؟ چون بالاخره خب یه فرزندی بود که شما حس مادری رو هم داشتی و باید مراقبتش رو میکردی، و المان ایمان چجوری تونست کمکت بکنه تو این پروسه که بتونی هم نقش مادری رو داشته باشی، همین که بیایم تعارف نداریم که خب مرگ اگه برگردیم واقعیت فکته.
والا جان، بعد بگم این ایمانه و باور عیسی مسیح خیلی به من کمک کرد. یعنی من بخوام در رابطه با خودم دارم صحبت میکنم، خیلی کمک کرد. اول اینکه بعد بگم که ما 70% راه، زمانی که داشتیم از ایران خارج میشدیم به سمت اروپا، 70% راه رو ما پیاده اومدیم. توی این راهی که ما داشتیم پیاده می اومدیم، ما توی کشوری به اسم کرواسی بود دستگیر شدیم. چرا؟ چون قاچاقبر یه آدمی بود که خیلی آدم بدی بود، خیلی به ما زور میگفت و ما رو مجبور کرد که وارد این کشور بشیم، و ما چون تو اون کشور بدون مجوزم وارد شده بودیم، اونا ما رو دستگیر کردن. پلیس کشور کرواسی ما رو دستگیر کرد. بعد از اینکه ما رو دستگیر کردن، ما رو بردن زندان و اونجا به مدت 21 روز بود که علی رو از ما جدا کردن و واقعا تجربه بدی بود تو این مدت بدون هیچ دلیلی. و چون ما هیچ پاسپورتی نداشتیم، هیچ گونه آیدی کارتی نداشتیم، به ما گفتن که علی بچه شما نیست و باید از شما جدا باشه تو این زندان. و 21 روز طول کشید تا تست دی ان ای حاضر شد و اونا باور کردن که علی بچه ما هستش. توی این مدت که 21 روزم بود، علی از ما دور بود دیگه. 3 ماه تموم ما توی اون زندانی بودیم و بعد از 3 ماه ما رو از کشور بیرون کردن. و بعد بگم به عنوان یه مادر بیشتر بخوام صحبت کنم، برای من خیلی تجربه سختی بود و سنگین بود، چون تو این مسیر هم قاچاقبر زور به آدم میگفت، هم ما رو فوش میدادن، توهین میکردن. علاوه بر همه اونا، کشور کرواسی که ما رو گرفت و علی رو جدا کرد، واقعا تجربه سخت و دردناکی بود.
من این رو ترجمه خیلی، من قبل از اینکه بخوام ترجمه بکنم واقعا احساس نمیتونم بگم، چون نه مادر بودم نه پدر بودم، به خاطر همین خیلی تجربه‌ایه که من این مثلا این خود کرواسی رو نمیدونستم، نشنیده بودم از شما و واقعا حرفی ندارم بزنم، هرچی هم بگم حرف اضافه است. واقعا متاسفم، چیز ندارم بگم. Rob, let me explain to you. It got me that the story, because it was even first time, because me, Mohammed and Farzaneh, we had a lot of conversation. It was even the first time that I've heard this story, and it got me, you know, it's easy for me to cry. I don't wanna, okay? She told the story, okay, instead of just moving from one country to another, she just picked one country and used it as a form of example. It was Croatia. In Croatia, when they went down there, basically, because that's the route. I don't know that you're familiar, or maybe the people that they're listening to this interview, when someone is trying to come to United Kingdom, sometimes they just come legally, and sometimes when they're coming illegally, it's basically from one country to another, and basically smugglers, they move them from one country to another. When they went to Croatia, basically the Croatian police and authority arrested them. It was Mohammed, Farzaneh, and just Ali back then. And the Croatian authority didn't believe that Ali was the son of Mohammed and Farzaneh, because they didn't have any sort of identification or any sort of certification which can prove that, okay, these are the legal parents of Muhammad. So they've separated Ali from Mohammed and Farzaneh, and they've put them in separate, you know, cells, jail cells, for 21 days. And it takes 21 days for them to just, for the laboratory to just get through the DNA test and everything, so they can prove that Ali was actually, and you know, really the son of Mohammed and Farzaneh. And she said, okay, during that 25 days being away, because just think about it, it's 3 weeks. Just think about it. It's not 3 hours, being 3 weeks away from your own son. And yeah, it was just Jesus and the faith which helped them. And from personal experience, I know how they feel.
یک چیزی رو ما بگم، هر اتفاقی که توی این مدت برای ما افتاده، خداوند اون مسیرشون، مثلا تو همین زندانی که ما بودیم، تو کرواسی شما بایبل فارسی رو اونجا تو زندان ما پیدا کرد، یعنی گذاشته بود اونجا داخل بایبل فارسی. خب چیزو شما حساب بکن، مثلا شما وارد میشی، قبل از تو یه کاری شده اونجا و این هزاران بار تو زندگی ما اتفاق افتاده. مثلا رفتیم اونجا، یه دفعه رفتیم کتابخونه‌ای داشت، یه بایبل فارسی، قرآن و اینا هم بود، یه بایبل فارسی هم بود. تو عین 21 روز ما با این بایبل بودیم و این بایبل ما رو
خیلی چیز بود. And he mentioned something very lovely. It said sometimes, you know, the way that Jesus was helping was so fun, because during that 21 days that they've been in jail, they had access to, you know, jails, and the place wasn't actually a jail, it was a place, cells, separate cells to just keep immigrants. And basically there was a library down there, and it was so funny because he found a Bible, a Persian translation of Bible in Croatia. Just imagine how insane it is. You go to, you know, Croatian jail, and you just go to library, and there you find a Persian translation of Bible. So he's saying, you know, from time to time, these mad and at the same time holy things happen to him, and he's so grateful for that.
Well, that is a good story, among a heartbreaking one. Absolutely. Let's talk a bit more about now and where you guys are now. I just got a few more questions, but I know you guys love St. Anne's very much, as I do. Mohammed, you've used your carpenter skills. You've made us a new lectern at the front, which we're all very thankful for. So why is church so important to you, Mohammed?
محمد جان، یه مقدار اینجا تعریف شما شد و هنرهای زیبای نجاریتان که اون حرکت جذاب رو زدید. حالا جدا از حرفایی که رابینم زد، خود منم متحیر کردم، خیلی کار توپی بود، دمت گرم. و سوالش اینه که چه چیزی در ارتباط با چرچ؟ بذار من اینو یه مقدار بپرسم چون خودم یه تیکه برام چیز شد. Rob, just one question. What is important about the church, you know, generally speaking, church or our church?
Why does Mohammed value church so much, I think is my question.
محمد جان سوال همین بود که چرا اصولا چرچ و کلیسا برات میتونه اینقدر اهمیت داشته باشه؟ داری صدای من؟
از دیدگاه ما کلیسا شرکت هر نفر تو کلیسا خاص اون طرف، خاص خداوند. یعنی ما همیشه اراده می
Sorry for interrupting. Rob, do you have Mohammed's voice and video?
Yeah, he stopped for us as well.
So it's okay. Mohammed John, do you want me to, you need to wait, or do you want me to call him, or?
There's no need. He'll know what's going on. Okay, while we wait for Mohammed, let me say the little bit that I was going to say in about 5 minutes time. I'll just say it now. And when he comes back, he can just finish off. Vala, I'll just mute you. And I thought I'd just share a little bit. We've been hearing about an amazing journey. And I thought I'd share one of my favorite journeys from the Bible, just for a couple of minutes. So it takes place in Mark chapter 4 and 5. So these are one of the gospel accounts of Jesus's life. And I'm just going to share a few verses with you because Jesus has just crossed a lake. It's a very famous crossing because during that crossing of the lake, of the Sea of Galilee, he calms a storm. And that's a really important lesson for his disciples because that's when they realize that he is more than a man. He is more than a prophet. That's where they learn that he must be God with them. Only God could do that. But what's more amazing is that after crossing the sea, we see just how far Jesus goes to show his care, because they arrive in a place where, which was not Jewish, basically. They arrive in a place where it wouldn't have been normal to believe in the God of the Bible, in the Hebrew God. So it's a bit of an alien place to Jesus. Okay, it's a strange place. And in that place, there is a man who's oppressed. Okay, we don't even learn his name, but we do learn that he has all kinds of problems. And actually, he's spiritually oppressed. He's oppressed by evil. And Jesus shows his care by freeing this man from the things that were oppressing him. And all the townsfolk around, they're freaked out by this. And they want Jesus to go. So let me share just the end of this story with you. So I'm going to share my screen with you. There we go. Okay, I'll just read it from there. So then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. Okay, so see the two different reactions? The majority of people in this area want Jesus to go away. They don't want him. But for the man who knows how much Jesus has done for him, he wants to be with Jesus, and then he learns that Jesus has a special mission for him. He learns that Jesus wants him to go and tell his own people just how much he, the Lord, that's how Jesus refers to himself, as the Lord, how much he's done for him. And he describes it as mercy. He's had mercy on him. And so just as we've been hearing with Mohammed and Farzaneh's story, it's not so much that they found Jesus. It's much more that Jesus found them. Just like Jesus crossed that sea to find that one man in Mark chapter 5. So we can think of Jesus by his gospel, by his good news, by his spirit, reaching Mohammed and Farzaneh in a really unexpected place in a small town, in an incredibly Islamic, non-Christian environment. And yet Jesus shows his care as he reaches them. And my final question, which I'm glad they're back because we can talk about this, is how they want to share that news now with others. They want to do what the man did, which is tell their own people how much the Lord Jesus has done for them and the mercy he has for them. So I'm so glad you guys are back. We're sorry we lost you. My last question to you both is, you both very much want Iranian people to learn about Jesus. Why is that? And what is it that you want them to learn?
محمد جان، اولا میگه خب خیلی بدشانسی آوردیم قطع شد. من بهتونم پیام دادم که چی شد. یعنی یه تیکه که میخواستن آخر بگن رو همینجا گفتن که الان برگردیم به تقریبا آخرین سوال شما. گفت اونجوری که من از تجربیات شما و فعالیت‌های شما میدونم، نه که من میدونم، یعنی رابین میدونه و اعضا میدونن از شما که من هم طبعا میدونم، اینه که شما خیلی قصد این رو دارید که ایرانی‌ها بدونند راجع به مسیح. خب با توجه به فعالیت‌های کلیسای مجازی و چیزهایی که داریم که تجربه هم به کرات ثابتش کرده، هم میدونن ثابت شده هست. دو تا سوال میپرسه در ارتباطش. یکی این که چرا براتون مهمه که ایرانی‌ها بدونن، یعنی اول چراییشه، خب چرا انقدر مهمه که ایرانی‌ها بدونن، و دو چی از همه مهمتره در ارتباط با مسیح و مسیحیت که ایرانی‌ها بدونن. یعنی یکی بحث چراییشه و یکی بحث چیش، یعنی چیش مهمترینه که اونها باید مطلع بشن.
بس اینه که ما همون به این باور رسیدیم که تنها راه نجات عیسی مسیح. وضعیت کنونی امروز ایران هم بیشتر از همیشه نیاز به این باور داره که فقط عیسی مسیح هست که میتونه تو رو نجات. حالا کار ما اینجا چیه؟ طبق آخرین آیه متی باید ما شاگردسازی کنیم، تعلیم بدیم، به مردم بگیم که داستان از چه قراره. آمین که قلبشون رو به عیسی مسیح بدن و از این وضعیت کنونی نجات پیدا کنن. یعنی به نظر ما تشنه‌ترین مردم در دنیا و ناآگاه ترین مردم در دنیا که عیسی مسیح رو به خوبی نمیشناسن. البته امروز خیلی بهتر شده ولی در جمع دارم میگم، در صد دارم میگم، اینه که یکی مردم ایران، یکی مردم افغانستان تنها راه نجاتشون اینه که به عیسی مسیح ایمان بیارن.
این چراییش بوده. چیش رو چی جواب میدی؟ یعنی چی رو اگر بخوای دست بذاری روش به عنوان نقطه اصلی، چی رو تو مسیحیت بیشتر از همه میخوای بهشون برسونی؟
این که شما داخل شریعت همیشه ناکامی. شریعت تو میگه تو باید خدا تو راضی بکنی که به کمال برسی، به اون حیات برسی، ولی در مسیحیت 100% مخالف اینه. شما میگه شما ایمان بیار هر کاری هم کردی. آخه در شریعت تجربه ثابت کرده کسی نمیتونی تو 100% این کارا رو انجام بدی و این احساس گناه همیشه رو دوشته. به خاطر همین ما به نظرم بهترین چیزی که میشه بهشون بگی اینه که
حالا من یه چیزی بگم، فکر نمی‌کنی چون باید توی شریعت از یه سری قوانین از پیش تعیین شده استفاده یعنی تبعیت بشه، این راهو برای حکومت‌ها هم باز میکنه که این قوانین رو ازش بخوان سوء استفاده بکنن و خودشون رو بذارن به عنوان مجریان اون قانون؟
اصلا به نظر ما دلیل این که قرآن ترجمهش ممنوعه و ترجمه نمیشه، یعنی به صورت 100% ترجمه نمیشه و میگن تاکید دارن که عربی خونده بشه، عین کتاب مقدسی هست که قرنها پیش فقط به زبان عبری بود و کل اروپا نمیدونستن چی نوشته داخلش. و چقدر سوء استفاده کردن کلیساها از این جریان.
Two things. First of all, about why it's important for him. The first question was why, if I'm correct. In relation to the question why, he mentioned because generally speaking, nowadays in our contemporary world, the world that we have internet and access to, you know, to have access, some sort of access to resources. Obviously it's restricted, but it's better than, you know, maybe 10 years ago, but still it's very, very, very hard for Iranian and sometimes Afghani people to just have access to, proper teaching, even having a Bible, a physical Bible, even for him, for me, for a lot of Iranian, it's impossible to have a physical Bible that you can touch. So since it's a little bit hard for them to have any sort of access to, proper sources in Christianity and learn, basically it's important for him to just provide this, because he mentioned and quoted Bible that, okay, just go and share the good news. And basically that's what he's doing at the moment. He's just trying his bit to just share the good news. That's in relation to the question why. And to the question what, it mentioned that generally speaking, since in Sharia law, okay, not just Sharia law in its Islamic sense, all the religions that, they have a set of rules that says, okay, do A, do B, do C, and when all the things are done, like a bullet point, blah, 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 then you're saved and salvation comes as a natural process. This sense of, complying with a set of rules and then just having and trying to achieve a grace by your own good deed and the things that you do, it opens gates, okay, or a door to such an argument that, okay, we are the authority, this is the set of rule, try to obey them, just do them. We are the authority. For example, we are the Islamic authority, we are the Catholic authority, and blah, 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 blah. If you want to reach the gods or salvation or anything, you just need to do and satisfy all these rules. And basically, we are the authority because we are clergy, we are preach, we are, for example, imam, we are ayatollah. You need to satisfy us because we are the teachers of the law, we are the rulers, and it's our decision to, set the rules. And basically, it's not like that in biblical Christianity. It's like a grace. You just need to put your hand and ask for grace to be given to you as a form of present. Basically, you're just a child. And that's what's important, because it's like a key. When you know that it's impossible that you just obey a bunch of rules and procedures and then to be saved, when you know, okay, that's a terrible path to pave, then it helps you from day to day and time to time to just get through the true salvation and through Jesus Christ.
Amen. Amen. Well, that's a wonderful note to end on. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. I know it's not easy, especially with English not being your first language, but we really appreciate what you've said to us. Thank you so much, Vala, for translating and for memorizing all that and then being able to summarize it is a great skill. So thank you so much for that. There has been a question, but I think we'll leave it and Sarah can catch Mohammed on a Sunday service, as can all of you watching. So yeah, do come and join us at St. Anne's. You'll find all the information on the website, St. Anne's Limehouse. And on a Sunday service, Mohammed will always be there dutifully, and usually the family as well. So we'd love to see you there. They'd love to see you there as we celebrate more the grace that God has given to us. So before we close, why don't I just pray for the family, and then we can say goodnight. So our Father God, we thank you for grace, and we thank you that Jesus comes to us and rescues us, not because of rules or things we've done, but because of his love. And Father, thank you that love is worth everything, and is worth even leaving our country for. We thank you for protecting them and bringing them here, and we ask that you'd continue to use them to show people about your grace and your mercy. We ask that you'd be with Ali and Daniel as they settle into life here. Would they grow up knowing you, loving you? Would they as a family grow closer together and closer together with our church family too? And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Brilliant. Well, thank you everyone who's attended to listen. I hope you found it really helpful. I know I have. We will see you all soon, I hope.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you very much.